Hello? Yes, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, sorry. I hope you're having a good afternoon. So today's webinar is actually going to look at some stocks. We want to look at the MOEX stocks. So these are basically a group of stocks traded at the Moscow Stocks Exchange. And we'll start off. Let's say, just a second, let me load them here. We're going to start off with Gazprom. We'll start off from the monthly, and then we move to the weekly, and then we move to the daily. Then we're also going to move to Gazprom Nef, and then we're going to look at partly Luke Oil. Then if time allows us, we're going to look at the other. So we'll start off. Let's start off with Gazprom. This is Gazprom on my screen. As I've said, we'll start with the monthly. Give me a second. Let me refresh it. So Gazprom, this is how it looks. On my side, this is what I'm looking at. You can see that this is from 2016. We had a bit of momentum to the upper side. The price moved up to this point. It went down. It came back slightly, could not go above the high of that year. Then it continued down. It came back, closed somewhere here. So if you are to draw this, you'll see that the price actually opened around this point and ended up closing here, somewhere here. It opened here, then it continued down as low as this level, but then it ended up closing around this point here. Then in 2018, the price continued up. There was this big move to the upper side. It went until somewhere around this point. That's the next place where it opened. It closed. We opened there, went as high as this point here, and then we ended up closing at this price. This is just before the close of the month. So you can see that the previous year, which was 2017, there was little change. There was literally no change at all. The price made the same number of pips it made previously. We opened around that price, ended up doing around 247 points, and then we opened the same place. We did almost the same number of points by the close that year. Then in 2019, the price went as high as this point, but ended up closing somewhere here. So the previous year is actually the year that this stock actually moved the highest. It moved strongly the previous year. As it is now, you can see that even this year it has done some very good movements, because we had it here, it was here. It went as low as this is around 1001 pips below. So I'm not saying this is now downwards. This is not a sign that we're downward, because something caused this. There's something which caused these movements. It didn't just happen out of nowhere. It did not just happen out of nowhere. The price basically corrected itself to the lower side. But there's a level here where the price needs to come to. We have a support here, here. We had a support here. We had a, sorry, this was a resistance. We had a resistance. We had a resistance. We had a resistance. There was this massive break. This was last year. You can see that because of the current pandemic, the price actually came down up to the same place where it broke previously, but could not break below it. So on the monthly chart, I'm actually expecting buyers to come in around this price. I expect buyers to be in around 168, 167.88, 162.94, and if the price successfully breaks below this same place, then that will mean we are now heading to the lower side. So as it is now, we are just watching. We are sitting on the sideline some more on the monthly. We want price to continue moving to the last side. We want it to continue up to 167.88, where we'll be looking for a reversal to pick a buy position. So if you buy it there, expect price to proceed up to this point. If you successfully pick buy from this level here, expect price to continue up to 260.90. And should the price break and close below, then that may mean we are now continuing to the lower side. So the next chart we look at, we look at the same chart on the weekly basis. If you look at it from the weekly, you can see almost the same move, the same resistance, the same resistance, the same resistance, the same resistance. There's this big move up, then the price came back up to the same level. So this was the correct place. If you are trading this symbol, you could have taken a buy from. If you were to buy it earlier this year, then this was the correct place you could have bought it from. If you didn't buy it, wait for price to get back to the same place. So if you didn't buy it here earlier this year, expect price to come back up to the same place. So the same chart on the weekly. So I'm going to add fib levels. I'm going to add Fibonacci levels. Let's see exactly if the price has pulled back correctly, or we still expect more pullbacks to the lower side after this big move to the upper side. So I'll pick this as the swing low, and this here as the swing high. As you can see, the price actually went and established a swing higher. This was last year. This level is around 272.35. Then it came back down up to tested the 61.8% fib level, pulled back again up. So basically, this is the correct place we want to buy from. We want to pick a buy when the price gets this level here. If the price can pull back perfectly up to 172.14 or 167.88, then this should be the ideal place to look for a buy from. This is going to be the best place where, if you want to trade this symbol correctly, be looking for a buy from. So I hope that makes sense, that we actually are looking for a buy on Gazprom. We want price to proceed to the last side. We expect it to continue down up to the level which I've just mentioned. So we're going to move forward. Let's see what we have on our next chart. We'll load Gazprom NEF. So Gazprom NEF still fall under Moscow Stocks Exchange. I will start off with the monthly. You can see that this has been rising all the way from 2015. We were here. We were at, what price was this? This was just a second. This was, it opened at 137.00. It went as high as 424.20. This was late last year. Then earlier this year, it opened here, continued up before it crashed down. So on this chart, basically there are no clear levels which I can say that this is the level where the price needs to get to, except for this one, except for this level here and this one, and of course the high that it has reached so far, and this one. There is no other level which I can say that this is the best place where the price needs to come up to. All these are the best levels. If the price approaches like where the price is now, this could be a very good turnaround point. So despite the fact that we had a bearish pin bar, we are likely to see price continue to the upper side. Ultimately, we do expect a break above this high. We do expect a break above 47.88. We do expect price to proceed up, break beyond 385.08, then break above 478.88, where if that happens, then we do expect it to continue much higher. So on the monthly chart, Gazprom NEF, we actually still expect more movements to the upper side. The current move we are seeing to the lower side is just a retracement. We don't expect it to break below 32,323.64. But if it does, then the next place where we want it to go up to is 23.182. So if the price does not bounce off from this level 32.364, then we do expect it to proceed down up to 31.82, where we don't expect it to go any lower. So the next chart we want to look at, we look at the same chart on the weekly basis. So here we have this. This looks like a good shape for me. We went down, then the price was consolidating within some range before it eventually broke below. So this is a possible sign that we may see price continue downwards on the weekly basis up to somewhere around this point here. So if you are trading this chart on the weekly basis, you're actually supposed to be looking for a sell temporarily. Look for a sell position, expect that sell to push price up to the zone which I've just drawn at the bottom, this zone here. Of course, there's a level here where the price must first break below before it can continue down. We have 313.22. If the price breaks below this level, then that may be a sign that we're continuing down up to 241.93. So we'll look at the same chart. Let's move to the same chart on the daily basis so that we see what we expect to be happening. We have this. We have the same shape which we had on the weekly, still playing a very good role on the daily chart. It was used as a resistance, as a support, as a support here. There was this break, then the price somehow is held below it. So we expect more movements to the left side. The price may likely proceed down up to the instances when the price was actually touching the lower trend line from the upper side. So when the price was up, then it comes down and touches this point. This was a support. It continued up, came down as a support, it continued up, it came down as a support, and then it broke below. So this is a sign that we're supposed to sell off up to 281.78. So the next chart we want to look at, Look Oil. Look Oil still falls under the stock classified under MOEX, that is Moscow stocks. We have it here. Look Oil has the same pattern as Gazprom Neft. You can see that there's this momentum to the upper side, and then there's this crash which we saw also on Gazprom Neft. So Look Oil, this was from when? From 2015. This asset has been increasing in value, like the stocks has been increasing in value. There's this move up, it closed here, it corrected itself to the last side, came back and closed almost around the same place where it opened. So this year we had an indecision. The next year it continued up as high as this point. So these are several pips. Let's see, yeah, around 16,000. Then it continued up and closed above. This is still upwards. Then for the first time we've seen a correction which is bigger than any other correction we've seen so far. So this is just a correction. I'm treating it as a correction because there is no other move which is similar to it in the past. It is the biggest we've seen so far, and there's a reason for it. It didn't just happen because the market did it. No, the current pandemic is the cause of whatever we are seeing here. It's what has made the price to crash down the way it has done now. So it's not a sign that the prices continue to the low side. If the medicine can be found, or maybe if a vaccine for the current situation can be found, then we expect price to recover to the upper side. So we do expect more movements. We still do expect more movements to the upper side. The price may likely bounce off again from somewhere around this point towards the resistance which we have. This one, 63.5, where if it does break beyond, then that will be the confirmation that we are now continuing to the upper side. So we're going to look at the same chart on a lesser time frame on the weekly basis. Maybe we should be able to get levels much better. On the weekly chart, we do have this as a support, then we have this as a resistance, and then we have this here as a resistance, then we have this here as a support. So we have here a resistance which should be a support in the future. We have a support which should be another support in the future, and we have this level here. The price is now below it, which means it should be a resistance in the near future. So this may be a good place to sell it from, but only up to 4205.2. If the price breaks above 46.2, then that may mean we are now heading upwards up to 6709.8. So that's according to the weekly. If we check the daily chart, it looks to me like we are having some shape which has just been broken. Yeah, we have a resistance, a resistance, a resistance, of a support, a support, a support, a support, a support. There's a gap below it. So as long as the price is held below this gap, expect a continuation towards 4205.2. Expect price to proceed to the lower side up to the level which I've just mentioned. So that should be the end of today's analysis. Let's meet again next week at the same time. So thank you. See you.